Welcome to the Fermented Homestead. If you're new here, my name is Anna, and on this channel, I'm sharing our journey of learning how to turn our home into a homestead. Today, we're going to be making our first batch of salsa. I've never canned salsa before, but I really want to get a good recipe that my husband and I both like, that I can can up a big amount of it and put it in our pantry. I'm making this recipe out of the Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving. I'll link this book down below for you guys so you can find it on Amazon if you want to. And today we're gonna be making zesty salsa. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to get all of our ingredients ready. And we need to peel our tomatoes. So I do have the pot of water is coming up to a boil on the stove, and we're gonna need green bell peppers. It calls for green bell peppers, but I decided to go ahead and switch it up, and I'm gonna do a little bit. I'm gonna do like some green, some orange, and some yellow. And then it calls for we need 5 cups of chopped onions. We need 2.5 cups. It just says chopped seeded chili peppers. I'm not going to seed them. It does say in the comments that if you like it hotter, you can leave the seeds in. So, and then it calls for cider vinegar. Most of the ones that I've seen called for white distilled vinegar, so I thought that was interesting. And then 3 cloves of garlic, and then salt, and it calls for hot pepper sauce. It just says hot pepper sauce. So we're going to go ahead while the water's coming up to a boil. We're going to get the rest of our ingredients all prepped. We're just going to make a regular batch. So it says it makes about 12 8-ounce jars or 6 pint-sized jars. I haven't quite decided if I'm going to use the food processor or not. I was watching a bunch of the different videos, and I watched the video from Becky from Acre Homestead, and she chopped up all of her ingredients and then put them in the food processor because she realized that it wasn't small enough. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but in the meantime, I'm going to chop them. Okay. And I'm not entirely sure how many tomatoes it takes, but I'm gonna guess 7 kind of big ones, right? Like that seems pretty rational. Some of these are starting to go south. Yeah. Chicken food. Jeepers. I only got these things a few days ago. No wonder they're canning tomatoes. Yeesh. I'm gonna wash these off real quick. Just so you know, if you guys are kind of new to this style of cooking, all you do to peel these is you just cut a little X on the blossom end. That's not the stem end, but the blossom end. You cut a little X in it, right? Hopefully you can see this okay. So we got our water boiling away. And then we're gonna take our tomatoes, put them in the pot. Be careful, don't burn yourself. I'll do like half of them, and we'll let it come back up to a boil, and you'll see what I'm talking about. The skin is just going to peel right off of there. The ice bath is not 100% required, but it's definitely really nice to have if you have ice. Otherwise, just do some cold water. But you definitely want to at least put it in something cool. See, it's like this now. See? As you can see, it's cracking right there. Can you see that? You can see the crack that started right there. That means it's done. They're not all going to be done at exactly the same time, so. And they'll take, if they're not quite ripe, they'll take a little bit longer, but don't worry about it. Just do it at whatever pace the tomato says. So we're going to let these cool off until these are ready, and then we'll put them into our strainer. Should get a bowl. This is just to catch any water that's going to come out of here. Okay, this part's done. So now, all you do with this is really easy. It just peels right off, like no problem at all. Peels right off. If it doesn't peel off, you didn't cook it long enough. And then cut out the core. Careful, they're a little bit slippery. You don't want to cut yourself. gonna go ahead and put this on the stove and bring to a boil over medium-high heat, stirring constantly, reduce heat and boil gently, stirring frequently until slightly thickened, which is about 10 minutes. And then while that's warming up, we're gonna boil our jars. You don't have to, but I do, I choose to. So I will bring you guys back when we're ready to start loading these guys in the jar. Okay, so it is nighttime now. We ended up getting distracted, and so I didn't actually cook it until right now. It's been kind of chilling, so it's a little too chunky for us. So I definitely wish I had cut this up in the food processor, so we'll know for the next recipe. But I'm gonna go ahead, and I do have a solution for this. I can actually grab my wand mixer and buzz this thing up. So let me go grab that real quick like. Okay, so the nice thing about having one of these wand mixers is that you can just buzz it up right in the pot. You don't even have to do anything. We're not going to turn this into a puree or a paste or anything, but we're going to just kind of buzz it down a bit. Okay, there we go. Now, that's more like it. I think this is much more in line with what we would enjoy. Okay. This is delicious. I ended up putting in quite a significant amount of this smoked ghost pepper. This is the hottest hot sauce that I have found yet that has good flavor. I got this, I wish I could give you a link or something, but I got it from a specialty store in Nashville. So I can't tell you where you can get it, but if you find this stuff and you like heat, get it. It is so good. So we're just gonna let this cook down just a little bit more, and while the jars are sanitizing over here, and then once that is happening, I'll bring you back and we will jar this stuff up. While we're waiting for the jars and the water to warm up, I wanted to go ahead and tell you about this. This is Forjars canning lids. I know I talk about them pretty much every time I can, but that's because I use them every single time I can. And the reason for that is because they're awesome jars and they're fantastic. And it is, right now, we are right in the beginning of canning season. And so it's a really great time to stock up on canning jars, or canning jars too, but canning lids. And this particular company, their lids are BPA free. The compound that is on the outside ring is a little bit thicker than a lot of the competitors, but not so thick that it's like a gloopy, globby mess. The metal that they use in the lids, it's made with stainless steel in the metal mixture. I don't know what you want to call it. I keep calling it composite, but I don't know if that's what it's actually called. But it's made with stainless steel in it, so it is much less likely to rust. I have been using these almost exclusively since January. It's currently July. It's like the end of July almost, and I've yet to have one single failed lid. Not a single one. I'm sure it'll happen at some point in time because, I mean, it's just inevitable, but I've yet to have one. And so I think they're just fantastic lids. And like I said, it's the perfect time for you guys to stock up. Right now, if you guys click on the link that I'm going to leave for you guys down below in the description box as well as in a pinned comment, if you click on that link and then you use if you use the coupon code Fermented10, it's going to get you an extra 10% off. They're already lower than regular store prices. So it's a win-win. And they will ship it right to your door. You don't even have to hunt for it. You don't have to search it out. You don't have to try and find the best deal. Nothing. They have the best deal on the best lids, and you can just order them online and they're going to deliver it right to your door. So I hope that you guys will consider checking them out. If not, just enjoy the salsa recipe. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill up our jars real quick. And we're just going to fill these up one at a time to a 1/2 inch of head space. We're just going to go ahead and kind of fill them up, and then we'll come back through and top them all off to the right head space. So what we want to do next is to go ahead and debubble it. And with this salsa, since it, there are some chunks to it, so you still want to make sure you're debubbling it. But, you're not going to find a whole lot in there. But you're just stirring it, basically, just to make sure that any little bubbles that might have stuck in the bottom, or, you know, whatever it may be. You give them an opportunity to come to the surface so that so it doesn't affect the headspace. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and top this off. I think there's probably enough for one more jar in here. So we'll just pop that in the fridge and cook with it. Or just use it later on with some chips. So now we're gonna go ahead and wipe down the rims with some a paper towel dipped in some vinegar. Okay, so we got our towel dipped in vinegar, and you're just gonna wipe the rim. The purpose of this is to get any particles that might have gotten on the lid or on the rim, and because if you don't get those off, it can interfere with the seal. See? It can interfere with the seal and make it much less likely that it will actually the bond that is on the silicone ring that is on the lid, it makes it less likely that it will be able to actually attach to the jar because you have this thing blocking it. All right? I hope I'm explaining that well. I'm trying to. Okay, there we go. We got our Forjars lids and rings here. And we're just gonna go ahead and put them on here. Fingertip tight. Probably should have done one a little closer to you guys. So fingertip tight, and that is basically as tight as you can get it with these 3 fingers. You put the ring on the lid on here, right? You put it on there. It's really hot. You tighten it, right? Sorry, I'm not trying to do it so slow, it's really hot. And then as tight as you can get it with those 3 fingertips, it's kind of like you've got built-in little torque wrenches. You really want to make sure that you're getting the correct tightness on this, because if you tighten it too tight, the heat in the canning process pushes the air out of the jar. And if it's cranked on there too tight, it can't push the air out, so it'll force it out and it will buckle your lids. If you don't tighten it tight enough, obviously the ring will not hold it onto the jar tightly enough. So it's very likely it won't form a vacuum, which means it won't form the seal. We're gonna load all of these into the canner. We're gonna water bath can these for 15 minutes. So it doesn't give any exceptions for any altitude or anything like that. So we're just gonna go ahead and process these for 15 minutes. I have my pressure canner over there set up as a water bath canner, and because it's a tall pot that I have, so it works out really well. You wanna make sure you have it covered by at least an inch of water. I will bring you guys back, I'm probably just gonna bring you guys back tomorrow and show you what's up. Oh. Well, looks like I need to find some chips. We got our chips here. I've already tasted this, so I know it's delicious. It's gonna be really hard to beat this recipe. Found some chips.
Okay, what you got? Hi. Way down here.
We're lower.
Okay, I'm gonna taste test this. Yeah, it smells good. It passes.
I think this super passes. This is one of my favorites. So I think this is definitely going to be one recipe that is going to be really tough to beat. I think we got a really good deal on it too. Based on the cost of the ingredients, I think this is definitely less than our favorite kind of salsa that we typically like to buy. That stuff is about $5 a jar, and I definitely didn't spend anywhere close to that for this. So I think we're coming out on top with this one. There's not a whole lot of reason for me to bring you guys back tomorrow. I'm just gonna go ahead and finish the canning process. We've already done a taste test. This stuff is amazing. If you guys are new around here, I like to do all kinds of videos on food preservation, canning, freezing, dehydrating, and fermenting, as well as showing you guys videos on how you can actually use those foods in your everyday cooking. We just moved to our 30-acre homestead in Missouri. We're transplants from Washington State, so I also do all kinds of homesteading videos. If that sounds awesome to you, make sure you hit the subscribe button. It's right here. This is where all the awesome stuff happens. Up here is a video that the YouTubes thinks that you're gonna enjoy. This here is my last canning video, and then up here is my canning playlist. Make sure you check that out for all the awesome inspiration and all the things that we enjoy doing around here. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.